So hi everyone, my name is Erin. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the Student Recruitment Officer at the UBC Vancouver campus. I would like to acknowledge that the land that UBC has built its Vancouver campus on, which we work, learn, connect, and innovate, is the unceded ancestral and traditional territory of the Musqueam peoples. I'd like to start today by introducing my colleague, Kyle Watson.
Thank you so much, Erin. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for being here with us for this session. My name is Kyle Watson. I'm an engineering advisor at UBC's Okanagan campus. My pronouns are he, him. UBC's Okanagan campus is situated on the Okanagan Silk Nation territory and their peoples. And I would also like to acknowledge the traditional owners and caretakers of the land that you are joining us from today. We're really excited to have you here today. We've got a lot of information to cover. As Erin mentioned, we have a Q&A function. You'll be able to be putting your questions in later on. We've saved some time at the end to be answering those, but let's jump right in, and we hope you enjoy this presentation. So what is engineering? You've probably done some math. You've most likely done some physics, some chemistry, maybe even biology in high school. Based on your schoolwork, you might be able to conceptualize what engineers do. Maybe type it in the chat. I can see in that Q&A function here. It's great, but use that chat function. We can start some conversation. Type in what you think engineers do, what engineers may be studying, what type of doors may open up. Type it in, see what we think is coming up here for engineering. What do you have for assumptions in that chat function? Solving problems, that's awesome. Making things, wonderful. I think engineers design things, innovate. Wow, what a smart bunch we have. You have hit the nail on the head. That is exactly right. Engineers, we are creating, we are designing, you're interacting every day. Maybe something that you're experiencing right now in your high school itself. Oh, look at all these more things. Engineering stuff: design, innovate, make technology, create technology, address problems, design things, solve problems. That's so great. Designing things for humanity. You're essentially making the world a better place, a safer place, a more efficient space. You are maybe here today because you have an interest in engineering. Maybe you're here because you've done well in chemistry and somebody told you you should be an engineer, and now you're just here to learn more about it. We are so excited to have you. So yes, things like bridges, everything you see around you, cars, buildings, structures, safety, stuff you see on TV like Formula One, that huge Netflix craves, or Teslas, all of that stuff, engineers are involved. But maybe there's some other less obvious things too, like the water that you drink, or the COVID-19 vaccination, or the cereal that you eat in the morning, maybe that Diet Coke that you must have every day at 4:15 p.m. to get through that studying. Engineers are involved with all of that. So let's start from a familiar place and address the difference between what we think between science and engineering to give you a little bit more of insight here. So scientists and engineers, they have different goals. A lot of the time they are working together, but scientists seek to describe and understand that natural world. Engineers, though, we consider various criteria and constraints in order to design solutions to problems, needs and wants that make the world a better place, a safer place. This includes our technology, our environment, and medicine. A lot of you have identified those in that chat function. We have such a smart group here. Thanks so much for joining. So life, natural, and physical sciences focus on attaining fundamental knowledge about a subject through empirical, often quantitative methods. An engineer's goal, on the other hand, isn't to necessarily discover new scientific principles by observing phenomena, but rather to apply principles obtained through scientific research to solve real world problems. So for instance, scientists, they know the human body inside and out. They can direct engineers on what knowledge is most relevant, and engineers can apply that knowledge to mass produce, say, vaccines, so that everyone in Canada and around the world can have access to it. Or create a bionic arm as a form of a prosthetic. There's endless possibilities. That was one of our student projects you can see in the image there. It's really important to understand that difference between scientists and engineers, but yes, they often do work together, both on campus and beyond. The best part about engineering is that you will be able to write your own story as you make your own impact on the world. Let's take a look at some student stories here. These are current UBC engineering stories. If we take a look at the photo in the bottom left corner, it's of Mikolos Scenario, current student in integrated engineering at UBC's Vancouver campus. He is the founder of Edu Beyond, EDU Beyond. Google it after this session, not now. Stay with us and take a closer look at it. In the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic, him and his co-founders created a non-profit global tutoring company. Edu Beyond evolved out of that when they realized we could have a greater impact by using leading edge technology to address education disparities, particularly for students from low income families. How amazing is that? And he's a current student. Where did he find time to do that? Through all of his degree requirements, but him and his team have funded Edu Beyond. Take a closer look at that after the presentation, not now. If we take a closer look at the right-hand corner, bottom right corner, that is a photo of Samuel Thyak, a current student in civil engineering at UBC's Okanagan campus. Samuel was the civil engineering representative for our engineering student society at UBC Okanagan. It's one of the larger student School of Engineering associations, and it supports academic, professional, social needs for all UBC Okanagan engineering students. There's a very similar society of a similar name on the Vancouver campus that we'll see more about later on in the presentation. Samuel's most recent applied science co-op placement was with the Vancouver Airport Authority. Let's hear it in the chat. Who's flown in or out of YVR, the Vancouver International Airport? If you have, the runway that you landed or took off on is been maintained and upgraded from Samuel and his team of engineers at the Vancouver Airport Authority. Those runways were built back in the 70s. You can imagine how much has changed in terms of weight, size, technology of planes. They need to upgrade those runways to keep it safe for planes coming in and out, to keep it working effectively, to handle the weight even alone, or handle the traction of new rubber. There's so many cool things that are being considered, and most of the time don't even think about it because your earbuds are in and you're just trying to catch that downloaded episode to get through the flight. But some really cool stuff happening. These are current students at UBC. Actually, Samuel's going to be walking across the stage in a few weeks here. He's about to graduate and head on to future career in civil engineering. Let's move on. So if we continue to take a closer look at UBC, you are going to have a wonderful opportunity to create a story and write your own story as you move forward. You may have passion in some of the things you put down in the chat. You may develop some new interests during your first year, but you're going to be able to write your own story. And a lot of our students are able to find that confidence on a new campus by being a part of an amazing community. We truly foster community at the UBC institution for both campuses. There are clubs, there are associations, there are so many different ways to get connected, find fellow members of similar interests to really create that new home away from home. So right from the time you enter UBC engineering, you're going to have support systems. Like our first year orientations, you're going to have the opportunity to get involved with so many different clubs, but really just meet some peers, meet some students from upper levels, feel confident with navigating campus, finding the right classroom, getting back to your dorm room, catching the bus to head into town to grab a meal with your friends. All of that fun stuff is going to take place as you're building that community at UBC. UBC Engineering ensures that students are well supported so they can navigate their interests. So for instance, if you join the Engineering Undergraduate Society, it's going to organize events throughout the year and provide space for you to connect. Or maybe you don't even join them, you just attend their events. It's a way for you to meet fellow students, feel comfortable, build that sense of community, that sense of belonging, creating that new home. There are so many different community initiatives, clubs, opportunities, you name it, they're endless. Peers and Queers, or Engiqueering, or something related to your food interests or your culture interests. We have Women in Engineering. There's a branch for National Society of Black Engineers. We have the Cal-ISIS groups for Indigenous engineering students for both campuses. There's a community for you where you can find that new sense of belonging and home, because some of you are just going to be moving down the street to study. Some of you are moving from the other side of the world to join UBC and start your new journey. Finding that sense of community truly does foster your comfort and translates towards success moving forward. I gave a sneak peek to some design teams and some engineering clubs. You can be a part of a design team, you can be a part of a club, you can join a club that doesn't even have to do with engineering. There's over 400 clubs on the Vancouver campus, over 400 or 300 clubs on the Okanagan campus. There's so many ways to get involved. This next slide here shows all of the design teams at the Vancouver campus. Look at them all. There are so many opportunities for you to get involved. What is a design team? It's officially part of the applied science, either Vancouver engineering or Okanagan engineering faculty, and you can go and compete representing your school. You can compete on campus or off campus. It's a really cool opportunity. It's essentially student-led design teams supported by faculties and a really great opportunity. The Okanagan campus has design teams as well. There's also clubs where you could be affiliated by the campus, UBC Engineering, or potentially not, and you just join up with some fellow students, join forces towards a common goal, and go for it. There's also clubs that have nothing to do with engineering. There's an ice cream club where you can get a notification when there's free ice cream being served in one of the buildings, and you just pop over, fill up your cup, and off you go. Clubs, associations, design teams, they're all great ways to just feel like you're at home on this new campus as you start this new journey moving forward. There's so much to look forward to in your UBC engineering degree from first year and beyond. Our engineering society that I mentioned earlier, they've got this really cool banner when they welcome students to campus. For the Okanagan campus, it says, "Welcome UBC engineers to the next 4, maybe 5, probably 6 years of your life." The reason is there's so many cool opportunities that engineers find out, shoot, I want to stay here longer. I want to extend my degree. You can do so with opportunities like a minor, not required, totally optional, but you can take additional courses from outside of the faculty. Maybe you want to pursue a minor in commerce on the Vancouver campus, or maybe you want to pursue a minor in computer science on the Okanagan campus. Take some additional courses, earn an additional credential, increase your competitiveness for applying for graduate schools or in industry thereafter. But there's other opportunities like co-op we mentioned, or studying abroad. Go take some engineering courses in Scotland that count towards your degree, or maybe you get involved with research, coordinated international experience, or you get into some work and you do some work on the other side of the world. There's so many cool opportunities that are here. They could extend your degree, but oftentimes our students are happy to do so because they're not ready to grow up yet and turn into Aaron and I with bills to pay and mouths to feed and all these big kid responsibilities. Stay a student for as long as you can. There's a lot of opportunities for you to look forward to. Some of them are optional. You don't have to go for it, but you can definitely take a closer look at all of them to learn more. When we talk about your degree experience for the required part, you are going to have to graduate with a major. So you're going to finish at the end of it with a Bachelor of Applied Science in your engineering specialization. Along that way, we really focus on hands-on design experience right from the start. Very first year, you're going to be exposed to that hands-on design projects where you are going to work in teams with other first-year students, stimulating real-world engineering experiences, like what Samuel's doing at the Vancouver airport. You're going to have courses year after year that continue to build on those project-based design team learning experiences through second year, third year, ultimately leading to the signature UBC engineering course in fourth year. We call it the Capstone Design Project. It's a full year course where you get partnered up with industry partners solving real world problems. Students can submit in votes before their final fourth year to make suggestions for possible topics for capstones, but companies are flooding UBC with project ideas. The winner of this year's UBC Okanagan Capstone Design Project, the student group, they responded to a community outreach request that came from Caslow. If you're familiar with the BC area, the Caslow Outdoor Recreation and Trail Society, their mountain bike club, they were faced with a very unique set of geography and elements, and they said, we can't figure out how to get around this. I think we need a bridge, but I don't know. We need an engineer. So they reached out to UBC. We talked about our capstone project. They put in their application. It was approved. And a year later, after that group working with their engineering students, giving them some direction on what they wanted to accomplish, but our students leading the way on designing and solving real world problem. They ended up winning the capstone design project, and now they've started construction on this bridge. And how cool is that? These students are now going to be able to take their family, take their friends, hiking, walking, mountain biking, accessibly riding, whatever it is, across this bridge that they helped design and effectively change the world. This capstone course is for all fourth year students, both campuses. It is a UBC signature course that students look forward to year after year. And it's ultimately a chance for you to take everything you learned in the classroom throughout your 4 years and apply it to real world problems with industry partners and truly change the world moving forward. UBC engineers are incredible. They are changing the world, and you can be a part of that movement moving forward. So many of our students, they also get involved with research. This often happens later in your degree. It varies based on campus on when you can get started, but there's opportunities. Oftentimes, the best way we suggest is you get in there and you volunteer. Just try to volunteer in a lab with an instructor. That can lead to paid experience where you can be working through the summertime in a research lab, making a difference. The Undergraduate Research Opportunities Club is available on the Vancouver campus. We have the undergraduate research program on the Okanagan campus. You can join a mentorship, be working with graduate level students and faculty on research initiatives. One of the reasons why UBC continually ranks very high in national or international rankings is because of the research that our faculty are doing on both campuses. You can be a part of that. Effectively researching the next more breathable, waterproof material for Arc'teryx jackets. That is a project that's happening right now at UBC through research. There's some really, really cool ways to get involved, and yeah, likely maybe push that degree back if you want, or not, just supplement with some summer experience, but maybe get your foot in the door for some graduate studies or job opportunities, but really just some cool experiences outside of the classroom to complement your UBC degree program experience. I'm going to kick it back over to Erin, who's going to chat a little bit more about our programs. Thanks, Erin.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Kyle, for sharing all of the fun and exciting things our students get to look forward to. I'm going to jump into a little bit more of some of the logistics. I know many of you had questions about admissions and things like that, so I am going to jump into some of those pieces. We've already kind of mentioned it, and you've heard us referring throughout this presentation about the Vancouver and Okanagan campus. So just to remind you, UBC Engineering is one program across 2 campuses at the Okanagan campus in Kelowna, as well as the Vancouver campus. Regardless of which campus you apply to, you'll start in the foundational first year, where you'll learn about the courses that are the foundation of your degree, which includes chemistry, physics, math, and English. So to break down a little bit about what engineering is, I know we kind of talked about the difference between engineers and scientists, but to dive a little bit deeper into what an engineering degree is, it really gives you a lot of opportunity in the future. So engineering is what we call a professional degree, and it's one of the few professional degrees that you can go straight into from high school. Many other professional programs often require that you start in another degree first and then transfer in something like medicine, where you need to start another degree first, for example. But engineering allows you to enter straight into engineering from high school. It's also one of the few degrees that you can go into, complete your 4 years, and go straight into the workforce. There's no additional graduate studies required, although that's definitely something that's available if you're interested in getting involved in more research. Like Kyle talked about, a lot of our graduate students will go on to do research, their own research in a lab, and continue on that for a few years after graduation. So the other thing I want to mention is that you may find other schools with differently named degrees in Canada for engineering. There's no standard naming system in Canada, and at UBC, it's called the Bachelor of Applied Science degree. So we talk about UBC engineering, but anytime we're talking about the engineering degree at UBC, it's actually going to be called the Bachelor of Applied Science. You'll typically complete the program in 4 years, unless you want to extend it by getting involved in all of those fun activities that Kyle had already mentioned. And if you chose something like doing the co-op program, that would extend your degree to about 5 years, but it provides up to 20 months of paid work experience throughout that time. And then once you do graduate, you're fully equipped to join the workforce. That said, you can go on to graduate studies, you could pursue another professional degree like law or medicine, or kind of whatever else you're interested in the future, another going on to get your PhD or anything like that. Now, to become a professional engineer, there's some specific requirements. So once you graduate from engineering, you're what's called an engineer in training. You need a minimum of 4 years of work experience, although co-op can count towards up to 12 months of that requirement. And you may have heard of other degrees at other institutions that would be a technical degree or something like that. So there are technical engineering programs, or you might hear an engineering technician role or something like that. Those are all other types of engineering, but they're not the same that we talk about because they would not lead to the professional engineering designation. So to become a professional engineer, you need to graduate from a 4-year bachelor's degree in engineering or an undergrad in engineering. And then, as I mentioned, after 4 years of work experience as an EIT, completing the law and ethical requirements, you can then become a professional engineer. So now that you know a little bit more about what an engineering degree is like, we can talk about some of those specific programs that we offer at our campuses. So at the Okanagan campus, there are 4 specializations students can choose from: civil, electrical, manufacturing, and mechanical engineering. Students choose their specialization through the second-year placement process at the end of first year. And at the Okanagan campus, there are no caps on any of the programs, which means that students can go into any one of these 4 programs for their second year. At the Vancouver campus, there are 14 different specializations that you can see here. Students will also apply at the end of their first year through the second year placement process. However, at the Vancouver campus, this is a competitive process. So placement into these programs is going to be based on your first year results. However, you'll get to learn about all of these programs that we offer throughout your first year so that you really get to learn about something that you may have never heard of before. Maybe you've never heard of geological engineering. Maybe you've never heard of integrated engineering. These are programs that you'll get to learn about and really have a good understanding of what they are before you're deciding which engineering program you're going to continue the rest of your degree in. So now that you know a little bit about our programs, we'll talk a little bit more about what you need to be admitted. So especially for any of you that are starting to plan your courses for the rest of high school, this will be super useful. I do want to quickly mention that there are a few different types of admission routes. So we have the direct entry to UBC, so I'd be coming directly from high school. If you're an Indigenous student, then we do have UBC's Aboriginal admission policy, as well as the Indigenous transfer partnership with Langara. If you are an international student and you're not meeting the current English language requirements for UBC, we also have the Vantage College route where you can come in and complete some additional English requirements in your first year before going in. So those are some of our options. We also have transfer options. So if you wanted to start somewhere else first and complete the full first year before coming to UBC, we have our 9 transfer partner institutions throughout BC that you can start at. But today I'm going to focus on that direct entry from high school. So most importantly is those application deadlines. When you are in grade 12 or the year before you're planning to come to UBC, you should be planning to apply by December 1st for that first round offer deadline. However, the final deadline is always going to be January 15th before you enter UBC. We offer a September start. So if you are applying this coming, if you're going into grade 12 and you're going to be applying for September 2024, it would be this coming December and then this coming January that you would want to make sure that you've applied by. If you apply by December 1st, it'll allow you to be considered for admission earlier. If you're not offered a first round offer of admission though, that's totally okay. You'll still stay in the regular pool and then be considered with every student that's applied by January 15th. So I always recommend putting that December 1st date in your calendar, making sure that you submit your application by December 1st. And applications for the coming year will be opening in October. So in addition to meeting UBC's English language requirement, UBC also has some general requirements that all students need to meet. That includes graduating from high school, as well as the recommendation to take at least 6 courses at the grade 12 level. The degree-specific requirements at the Okanagan campus include these grade 12 courses listed here, or the equivalent from your province. I've tried to include a variety of provinces, but you can always go to the website on your screen to find any of the requirements specific to you. At the Vancouver campus, you'll see that the requirements are very similar. However, there is an additional requirement to meet a minimum of 70% in grade 11 or grade 12 English. And the degree-specific requirements are also a little bit different in Vancouver. You'll notice that BC students at the Vancouver campus require a language at the grade 11 level. Another difference that you'll see is that while you should plan to have both chemistry 12 and physics 12 at the time of entry, you can be admitted with only one. So if you're not able to fit in both of those chemistry or physics courses into your high school course plan, know that you can still be admitted to engineering at the Vancouver campus with only one of those. So these degree-specific requirements are really like a checklist. So you need to make sure that these will be completed by the end of your grade 12 year, but they don't need to be completed before you apply. So if you're applying by December 1st, we know that there's going to be a lot of courses you don't have yet, and that is totally okay. What does UBC look for? So we're going to consider the different types of courses you took in high school. Did you pursue all of your academic interests by taking a range of different subjects? Did you challenge yourself by taking various academic courses, advanced courses, AP or IB or anything like that? Did you take other courses related specifically to your degree? Or did you, like I said before, take a range and take other courses like arts and foods and things like that? So we're going to look at all of those courses that you've taken as part of your degree. We're also looking at not just those courses that were on the last screen. So as I mentioned, those are kind of like a checklist, but we're looking at all that you've done in high school. So what does that mean? We're going to look at 3 main components. There's your personal profile. So that is going to be a few short essays that tells us more about who you are outside of the classroom. It's really important to be really introspective and reflective on these answers. It's going to ask very broad questions like, what's important to you? You can actually see all of these questions on UBC's website right now already, but really think about how has your experiences outside of the classroom impacted who you are? So if you worked in school, then how has your work experience affected what you want to do in the future? If you've had to babysit your siblings, if you've volunteered for a lot of great opportunities, no matter what you've done, we're not looking at what those experiences are, but how you're reflecting on your experiences. We're also going to look at your overall academic average. So this is looking at all of your grade 11 and grade 12 academic courses. And then we're going to look specifically at your core academic average. And your core academic average is going to be all grade 11 and grade 12 academic courses in the areas of language arts and English, math and computation, and sciences. So it's these 3 components that we're pulling together to see if you'll be admissible to UBC Engineering. Now, one of the main reasons that we encourage applications by December 1st is so that you can be considered for scholarships. We have a lot of merit-based scholarships that really all you're doing is indicating on your application that you want to be considered for these. You'll fill out a very, very short answer, just confirming that you want to be considered and letting us know anything else that wouldn't have been included in your personal profile that we should know about for considering you. For students in need of financial assistance, there are also some additional scholarships that you will have to apply to specifically. So you can check out the website for all of those details, but typically you do need to have applied by December 1st to be considered for any of our merit-based awards and for most of our financial need-based scholarships as well. Scholarships are really your chance at free money. So I encourage you to always apply for scholarships because who doesn't want free money, really? There's also a lot of external scholarships that you'll find online. So great keywords to start searching are engineering, STEM, tech. Maybe search for women in engineering, women in STEM. Anything specific to who you are can really help you find a lot of scholarships online. And even if you're younger, if you're in grades 8, 9, 10, it's a great time to start looking for those scholarships so that you know what the requirements are that they're looking for. You can continue to develop those skill sets that all of these scholarships are looking for, and then set a reminder in your phone for 3 years from now, apply to this award so that you know that you can apply to all of these scholarships when you're getting closer to grade 12. So imagine a world without engineers. What would that look like? That would mean no buildings, no bridges, no cell phones, no life-saving devices, no medicine to heal you, no transportation. Life is pretty good right now, but engineers work every day to make our lives better than what they are in this moment. Engineers improve the environment, our technology, and our medicine. They build solutions to solve problems and make our world a better place. So if you think that you would want to work on a team to solve problems, then engineering would be a really great career for you to consider. All right, so the rest of the session today is to be answering questions in the Q&A. I can see a lot of questions coming in, so that is awesome. Please feel free to use the Q&A to ask your questions, and we will continue with that. You can also use the little thumbs up to like other people's questions, and that will help upvote questions for us as well, so we can answer the most popular questions. I also have some websites on the screen, so please feel free to access any of those websites. We also have a great one, that really long one that you see that ends with Ask Question, is our website for connecting with our current UBC engineering ambassadors. So those are current students. You can go online and start a chat with them, ask them any questions about design teams, about what their experience has been like. They won't be able to answer any of your questions about admission, but they can definitely tell you about their student experience at the Vancouver or Okanagan campus. So that's a really great resource to check out. All right, so jumping into that Q&A. So remember, there is the chat, there's also the Q&A. We're going to focus on the Q&A questions and go through there. So I see the first question is, what is the average GPA for entry? It's a great question. I would love to give you a specific answer to that, but that's where we're looking at those 3 general components. So there's no specific grade cutoff that we have at UBC. We're looking for your personal profile, your overall academic average, and your core academic average. And it's those 3 components that are really going to give us your admission score. And that's going to be different for everyone, because you can have a really stellar personal profile and not as good of grades as someone that has the poor personal profile and really good grades, and the one with really good grades but a poor personal profile might not get in, but you might. So it's really hard to give you a specific answer for that, unfortunately. The next one I see, if grade 11 had weaker marks slash average, but grade 12 was substantially higher, does grade 12 cancel out grade 11? So this will really depend on what courses you have available at the time of assessment. If you are applying by December 1st, we will look at the grades that you have available typically in early January. So that would typically be whatever you've completed during your grade 11 year. If you've taken grade 12 courses during grade 11, we will definitely consider those, and we will always consider those grade 12 courses with a little bit, we'll consider them a little bit heavier than your grade 11 courses because there's a lot more information that tells us in that grade 12 subject matter. But if you've only completed grade 11 courses, then that's what we'll look at that time. For students applying by January 15th, or any student that didn't receive a first round offer by December 1st, then we will consider whatever grades are available by about March or so. So typically that's going to be what you completed during your grade 11 year, as well as your first term of grade 12. So that's where we can see more grade 12 courses, but we're never going to look at like all of your grade 12 courses because you won't be finished school in time that we're doing those assessments for admission. So hopefully that helps with that answer. We do not look at grade 10 courses unless you've done a grade 11 or grade 12 level course in your grade 10 year, but we don't look at grade 10 level courses. What is the difference between software or computer engineering and computer science? That's a great question. There's lots of information about this. We do have some other recorded presentations that really go deep into this sort of question. So we have a presentation called Engineering versus Science, what's the difference? We have an article that was recently published that kind of goes into a little bit more about the difference between science and engineering. Like Kyle mentioned earlier, the main difference between science and engineering is looking at, so science is really doing the research side of things, looking at the exploring and sort of smaller scale when we talk about application. So when you're looking at computer engineering versus computer science is going to focus on more of the smaller scale systems. So things like more of the apps or more of the programs that you're using. Computer engineering is going to focus more on the integration of those programs into the larger operating systems. And so it's really just that kind of difference between science and engineering on a scale specific to computers, essentially. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an answer. If you check out our computer and electrical and computer engineering department, they have some information about that there. But if you Google that, there's a ton of Google articles that you'll find about the difference between those two. And all of the ones I've read online are true for UBC as well in terms of what the difference between our computer science and computer engineering programs are.
Aaron, there's also a whole other layer to add just to really confuse students that are watching here. Clearly trying to redeem myself after I've lost points in the presentation. At UBC on both campuses, you can actually pursue a degree in computer science from either a Bachelor of Arts degree majoring in computer science or a Bachelor of Science degree majoring in computer science. So potentially you have 3 separate degrees: the engineering degree, Bachelor of Applied Science, an arts degree, or a science degree, all related to that computer software, computer programming, computer science. And I encourage you to take a look at our programs offered page at UBC. Just like Aaron mentioned, you can go in, these sites are great. You can take a look at courses that could be taken in each of those 3 programs, career opportunities that open up for you, experiential learning opportunities that are available throughout the degree. Encourage you to take that time to do some research and find out which program and campus might be best fit for you. I'll put the link in the chat for that program. Thanks, Aaron.
Perfect, thanks. All right, we have a lot of questions coming in, so I don't know if we're going to get to all of them. So please do keep upvoting those questions so that we can answer as many as possible. The next one that I see is, what should I do to make myself a competitive applicant if my school does not offer AP or IB courses? That's totally okay. There's no requirement for you to be taking IB or AP courses. We are going to look at whatever you're doing. And so as long as you're doing the best that you can in your courses, you're getting involved in things outside the classroom, then that makes you a competitive applicant for UBC. During admissions, do you value challenging courses with lower grades higher than easier courses with higher marks? So I'm always going to say, do the best in any of your courses that you can. Do not worry too much about what your peer is doing in a different course. We are looking really at your full application. So we are going to look at what those courses are. We are going to consider were the AP or IB courses, if those courses are available to you at your school. We are going to consider those grades and everything like that. But we're not typically going to pick out and line up students one-to-one. We're looking at the full application group of students. So do your best always that you can, but there's no specific comparison that we'll necessarily do to look at one specific course that you have versus a specific course that another student has. So we do consider all of those pieces though as part of your application. Is athletics considered as personal engagement? For sure it is. Joining anything that you're interested in and you're passionate about is definitely something that you can speak to. How difficult is it to guarantee a spot in the mechanical engineering program for second year engineering placements? Well, it depends on what campus you're at. So if you are at the Okanagan campus, you can go into your second year program. There's no caps on any of the programs there. At the Vancouver campus, we do look at your first year average. Mechanical engineering over the last few years has been around an 80% first year average required to get into mechanical engineering at the Vancouver campus. That might give you a sense, but again, it depends on how you do in your first year, and you'll be given a lot of this information in first year as well.
Aaron, there's a good question here in the Q&A. It's been upvoted a handful of times now. What should I do to prepare myself for UBC engineering? This is such a great question. There are a lot of opportunities to be preparing, and it depends where you're going to be starting. If you're still in high school and looking for ways to prepare, as Aaron mentioned, continue to do well in your current courses. Focus on courses that you're in, trying to get the best grades you can, but learn and retain that knowledge so that you remember it when it comes time to university. Aaron hosts a number of events throughout the fall and into next spring. And so if you're heading into your grade 11 year, or if you're heading into your grade 9 year or grade 12 year, there's plenty of ways to get involved with UBC, stay connected, and learn more about things coming up. There's application events that are hosted from UBC Engineering. There's tips and tricks for admissions that are hosted from UBC Engineering. There's many things like campus tours. If you have the means to visit campus and check it out in person, walk the campus, walk in the current shoes of a UBC engineering student. That's a great way to envision yourself at UBC and see if it's a good fit for you. We also have virtual tours. You can take a tour of each campus from anywhere with an internet connection and take a closer look. You may even see UBC's Vancouver campus on some Hollywood movies, or UBC Okanagan's campus on some Hallmark movies. But for a more official preview, definitely campus tours are the way to go. But if you're talking about how to prepare for UBC prior to even starting, after you've been admitted, let's say, there are plenty of opportunities for orientations, be it right now, running webinars to get you prepared for registration, or coming to campus early through one of our programs like Jumpstart. And you can move into on-campus housing, you can experience the campus beforehand, practice the meal plan, find your way to class, make some new friends, go enjoy some social stuff. There's so many opportunities to prepare for life at UBC. Start with some clicks on those websites, monitor your emails, take advantage of those opportunities, but reach out to folks like Aaron and myself. There's lots of ways to prepare yourself for it, but it starts with some envisioning of your own self. What's it going to be like there, and what do you need to feel comfortable and be inspired to make that jump? But really great question coming through from there. Lots of ways to take it. We've got some great action happening in the chat. Some folks are having a tough time finding the Q&A function of Zoom. If you hover your cursor over the Zoom window and go down towards the bottom of the screen, there's a whole whack of buttons there where you can mute yourself or stop video, or you might be able to see participant counts. You may not, but you should be able to see Q&A in there. It's just beside the chat button, and you can click that Q&A and enter your question. You can upvote questions that are here if you really like some questions there. Don't have time to type it in, but we've got some really good questions coming through. I've got one here. What happens if you realize after your foundational year that you've chosen the wrong specialty? Is there a crossover mechanism? So this is a great question. When you apply to UBC, you're applying to the Bachelor of Applied Science. If you're interested in engineering, you're applying to the bachelor's degree. You're not applying to your major. This is pretty consistent for most programs across UBC, whether it's engineering or not. So you're applying for engineering, Bachelor of Applied Science. The way second year placement work, it varies based on campus, but after you finish first year, you can then either declare if you're on the Okanagan campus, or you fill out your specialization form to compete for your specialization of choice on the Vancouver campus, but it's happening after first year. So you have time to experience UBC engineering, get into some labs, get into some tutorials, volunteer with some research labs, or go to office hours of instructors. Take a look at the directory of all the instructors on both campuses. type in some keywords. If you're really interested in sustainability or aerospace or whatever it is, our UBC directory will pull up all of the faculty members that are teaching courses in that topic or researching in that topic. Grab a coffee with one of those instructors and chat. Hey, I'm interested in mining engineering. What is that all about? I really want to pursue civil engineering, but I don't really know what it is. You can learn more about it through that first year. The intent of the foundational first year is to develop your foundational skills so that you can succeed in any specialization moving forward and succeed when you get into that workforce as an engineer. And so you have time to decide. If you have a change of heart partway through second year or after second year, that's when you want to talk to an engineering advisor, explore possible options, see what might be there. You may have to be repeating some courses or going back to get caught up, but it really depends on the program of interest that you're in, the program that you're leading, or that specialization I should be saying. So there's some varying there, but right now, if you're getting ready to apply, you don't have to know yet what you want to major in or what you like to say at engineering specialize in. We like to keep it confusing and use our own terms, but really good questions coming through there. You've got some time. Great thing to do is check out our websites, talk to the staff, advisors, folks like Karen and myself, but you have first year to experience it. I see Aaron typing an answer in the chat here for co-op program. Great question, Kayam. We have at UBC something pretty cool. So there is co-op available for UBC students. Separate from that, specific to only engineering students, is the applied science co-op. We've got some links in the chat. You can take a closer look at that. Not required for your degree requirements, but certainly a popular option for most students.
Try to get through as many questions. Do you have any other kind of standout, maybe 2 more questions today? And then if anyone has any questions that didn't get answered today, Kyle and my email are both on the screen right now. So you can send us an email. I will be able to better answer questions specific to the Vancouver campus. Kyle will be better able to answer questions related to the Okanagan campus, but you can always email either of us and we should be able to answer your questions after today. Did you have another one, Kyle, that you wanted to answer?
There's a lot of good ones through here. I guess we'll be fair and go off of the upvotes. We'll pick this one off the top here. So from Jamal, is a degree from UBC universally accepted? For instance, could I work in Europe with a degree from UBC? This is a great question. Something that's really cool about engineering at UBC, of course, both campuses, we are an accredited institution. We're an accredited program. What does that mean? Engineers Canada, the governing body for all universities teaching engineering in Canada, they approve of our degree. So no matter which specialization you finish with, you will be eligible to apply for those licensures to go on to be an engineering and training or to go on and get your professional engineering. If you're looking to do that outside of Canada, is UBC recognized? Yes, it is recognized. UBC Engineering has a strong reputation of producing strong engineers moving forward in industry, both in Canada and beyond. There are going to be unique rules to the country that you are applying for those licensures in. So you'll want to follow that governing body for engineers licensures within that country. But to answer your question, will they recognize the UBC engineering degree? Yeah, it's accredited. So that's something you don't have to fret about. We've done all that hard work. We get audited every few years by the accreditation committee. It's a very strenuous process that we have to go through, and they ensure that every single credit you earn throughout your degree is valid. Because when you come to the time where you're applying for those licensures, they're going to audit your degree, and you have peace of mind knowing that the UBC degree won't come into question. We wouldn't be issuing that degree to you if it was going to be. So that's a great question moving forward, but it does really vary based on the country you're looking to move to. There could be some different requirements on when and how to apply for that licensure.
But yeah, we do have tons of alumni working in engineering around the world. If you go to the Engineering Stories YouTube channel, there's some alumni features from a couple of years ago now, but one of them was working on the new FC Barcelona stadium. and working to like recreate the whole community around that stadium. So that's one option of working in Europe, but we have lots of alumni that are really working around the world. It's just, again, like Kyle mentioned, those specific licensing requirements, but your degree should support you no matter where you want to go to. Kyle, maybe this is a good question to answer, and we can be a little bit more general, but there's a question about why choose mechanical engineering in one campus over the other, and maybe that could apply to any programs at both campuses.
That's a great question. Yeah, thanks, Aaron. So you're choosing your degree of study based on maybe an interest, a curiosity, or again, maybe someone told you that you should do engineering and you're just here because you feel like you have to. But really what you're forecasting here are the next 4+ years of your life. You're going to be potentially moving to a new location, or maybe you're commuting, but you're going to be spending a lot of time on that campus. You got to envision yourself there. That's going to be your new home. If you feel more at home on a particular campus based on the size or opportunity or food sources or proximity to home to get that laundry done real fast, thank you, mom and dad, whatever it may be, like that's got to be really important to you. Choose your campus. If you're considering UBC and you're considering other campuses, factor that in. If you've already made up your mind on UBC and you can't decide between the two, that could be a huge factor there. Then if you narrow it down to program, it can really vary. So on the Okanagan campus, yes, you're going to be able to declare your first specialization. So there may be some instances where students want to compete for mechanical on Vancouver, they don't get it, and then they try to go for mechanical on Okanagan. That's a real big conversation. I encourage you to follow up with one of the engineering advisors or staff members from either campus to learn more about how all that works. What we strongly recommend to you is to start on the campus you plan to finish on. Go on that route. Regardless of which specialization you choose, at the end of the day, you're graduating with a UBC engineering degree that is recognized worldwide, and it is going to be quite helpful for you as a tool to compete for that next step. It's going to be up to you to set yourself apart. If it's in an interview room or in a grad studies review session, whatever it may be, you're going to have to put together all the other tools to make that happen. But that UBC engineering degree in your pocket is going to be quite fruitful for you. Depending on which specialization you pursue, could open up additional doors, but it doesn't necessarily narrow you down to only that avenue. So there's a lot of things to factor in, but comparing the two programs from campus to campus, they are going to be similar. First year is going to be the same with our foundational first year program, setting you up to be a strong engineer moving forward. But mechanical engineering, in the direct comparison from campus to campus, they take varying courses from year 2, 3, and 4. So I encourage you to do that research. Take a closer look at what the different programs are showing us similarities and contrasts, but it may come down to choosing the campus that's the best fit for you, choosing the program that's the best fit for you, then that specialization will come into play later on. Or adversely, if you have your heart set on a particular specialization that's only offered on one campus, you may not have your decision made there and you know exactly what you're going to start competing for. So lots of things to consider as you look to choose or strive for finding that new home for the next 4+ years of your life, if that's starting within the next year or a few years from now, whatever it may be. But we encourage you to stay connected with UBC Engineering along the way, as we have many opportunities for you to learn more about all these programs offered and how that fun, exciting competition of admissions applications work.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Kyle. Yeah, I would definitely second everything that you just said now. So that was a great answer. So thank you so much for joining us. Definitely check out our events link on the UBC Engineering website for more events coming up this fall. We'll be posting some more events over the next couple months or so. I hope everyone has a fantastic summer, and hopefully we'll get to see you at more of these events in the fall. So thank you so much. Thanks to Kyle for spending your time with me tonight. And thank you to all of you for joining us and learning more about UBC Engineering. I hope that that's answered at least some of your questions. Again, you're always welcome to send us an email if you have more questions after today. Thanks so much, everyone.